Okay, this is Dave Bennett from MOWG-Crew.com and theme2html.com. Today is still February 14th, 2014, and we just covered MOWG Toolbar version 18, the installation. So let's cover the updates that we made to it because there's several, about 6. The best way to show you, of course, is to start a so-called project. And in that project folder, I want to go ahead and create an Excel file. Okay, that's what you would normally do to use the MOWG Toolbar. Quick note, don't just open it like so and work on it is a book one because it doesn't have a home yet. It hasn't been saved anywhere. We need to have a place to save it first so it can save the related files next to it in the same folder and all that kind of thing. So just a really easy way to pull that off is create a folder where you feel like doing some work. And I'm just going to call it like project. Call it whatever you want. And in there, I'm going to go ahead and create a new worksheet, new Excel worksheet. Okay, I can go ahead and open it, and now that it has a home, I'm going to go ahead and start my work. So here I am, MOWG Toolbar version 18. Let me start covering the updates. And so this is normal. Let's import a web page, right? And we're going to specify the root for all the images, CSS files, and so forth. And since theme.html carries all of the related files with it into each project you create, into each subdomain you create, that's good. It means that you can do so many different projects for so many different people, and in each case you can use the same image names or whatever. It's not going to matter because each of your projects is going to be relative to its own images and CSS files. They will carry separately, so you can treat them separately. That's very cool. All right, let's go ahead and just correct, and that's good. Now that resolved all our relative links and so forth. Okay, that much you know already. Now it saved the files HTML. I'm going to show you what changed. See, here's the file. If I were to right click it and hit edit, you might remember File Save As, that the standard encoding was ANSI. And so if you got weird looking characters on the page when you looked at it, little question marks where the coding was strange because it was UTF-8 coding, then ANSI couldn't display it properly. Okay, but now it is saved as UTF-8 by default. We've noticed most web pages are UTF-8 by default, and we were able to make that adjustment finally. Okay, in the old days, we couldn't figure out how, now we have. So the standard is UTF-8. We don't have to go in here and change this manually anymore. Just one less thing to have to do. So that's very nice. And let me point out the next thing. T to H had some odd coding in it that the source workbook, the old toolbar, would reference the source workbook and so forth. There were not fixes to deal with this particular banner. There was coding in the banner so that when you downloaded it, all the images would spill down the page and it didn't look right. It was very hard to work with. We've since fixed that. So now the images are right and the playing field is correct. So all of this is correct. As a matter of fact, everything is nice in here now. Everything is working the way it's supposed to. It connects the way it's supposed to. So downloading this page is complete and cool. And there's no weird question marks because no UTF-8 issues. All right, so that's the next thing, all right, is that we made changes to the toolbar that really work with all the versions, all the different templates we have right now in theme to HTML, and we will continue to do that into the future, okay? Because it's turning out to be so cool that these two work together, MOWG and T2H. What else? Okay, if we get back into the file, the next thing I'll do is code to Vars, okay? Now, in code to Vars, there was an issue we used to have with the meta name equals keywords, content equals, and you see the double quote. This starts off correctly, okay? And then if we continue, for whatever weird reason, this was getting cut off all the time. It did not exist. It was just not here. It always got deleted. Now it is here. Now it's here. And so that works, and that's good. So we have our double quotes, no break in the coding. The same thing used to happen in the meta name description field, where this final double quote was just getting cut off, and now it doesn't get cut off. So that's just a bug fix. We got that finished, and that's very, very cool. All right, the next thing is this is a new macro, Universal Concatenator. Okay. And we needed this in a big way because if you know, especially from our focal group training and other training where we kept going across the page, fixing repeating issues like this, dash, dash, arrowhead. And we knew that originally this was all together. And you might use the code reassembly to reassemble that into one cell, right? But let me step back and make the point. Here's what it is. Universal fixes can fix something within a cell. And of course, when you first import the web page, the whole web page is in one cell. Universal fixes can adjust things in that cell. But then when you hit code to Vars, it spreads it all out. And by the way we have it programmed, it separates most symbols from the words so that the words can be seen as words by spinner programs, by Arthosaurus. Anything that can have variations just like this because there isn't a symbol stuck to it. If there was a symbol there, okay, and I just cleared these contents, for instance, delete shift cells up, let's say, being really clean here, okay. If there was a symbol there, then it can't find any variations, right? So all the symbols needed to be separated apart from the words was the idea. That's why symbols are separated. But then the problem is very often symbols like this get separated anyway. Okay? And because symbols get separated, we'd have to concatenate it back together later. Well, you could not concatenate across cells with the universal fixes, and you could not concatenate across cells with the replace editor either. That would deal with final changes when you're finally producing the page. This is after you hit the header generator. Then it can deal with the replace editor. But many things would still be hard to get. Now, our code reassembly allows us to select cells. It can cross cells. We can select some cells, hit code reassembly, decide whether there's supposed to be a connector between these things like a space or something else. And if not, we can hit OK, and that takes care of the issue. It puts everything back together again. Now, if I find like a phone number, I know that there's a phone number, I can show you the logic of it, but it's kind of tricky. Like in this case, I could concatenate the whole phone number, but it won't come out right, right? Because if you think about it, it's all going to be stuck together, okay? So I wouldn't do that. I would first concatenate this together, code reassembly, no spaces, right? Except that then it changes sometimes the coding. It misunderstands the opening and closing quotes. All right. Oh, that's right. I actually have to change that well, here. Okay, and we don't have to worry about this anymore. That's the point. I can change this a different way. Okay, there. By putting the single apostrophe first, you force everything in the cell to be treated like text no matter what. So it avoids formatting issues like that. Okay, and it works. Believe me, it works. So here you do not see the apostrophe. There you do. Seem to disappear from here, and that's okay. This works. Now I would concatenate this. Okay, code reassembly and put that together just like that. But then if I mean to put these two together, code reassembly, I need a space between those two cells so that I get the natural space in the number. See? Natural space in the number. Okay. By now, just out of curiosity, the apostrophe vanished at this point because it's no longer necessary. When it concatenated it, it didn't even need that anymore. So whatever, more than one way to skin a cat. Point is, that's cool. But many things were getting separated out like this NBSP and so forth, right? Many other things too. Let me see if I can find some like QUOT. Yeah, see? These are separated, and we'd have to teach you how to come back in and put them back together again like that. And we'd say keep scrolling across the page. Put the next thing you see back together again. You should know a little about code. This is what we had to tell people, right? Guess what? That's all different now. This new universal concatenator acts like the universal fixes or the replace editor, but it allows us to preset anything that we want to be changed, and it will do the job for us. Now, let me show you from scratch, okay, because I've been concatenating some things. So let me just delete these so I can start over. It's also good for just this simple repetition. But here we go. I'll show you how this works. It's really cool. So import, and it saves a lot of time. New combine.theme to html.com. Okay, import. All right, change it there. Save the HTML. Code to Vars. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to do universal concatenator just now. And guess what? We can put anything into it. Like for instance, see how this particular metadata viewport equals and it split it up, all of it up. Well, if I know how that's supposed to look, because I went back to the real page and I got the real coding so I could get it changed back, okay? And I can, see, this is it. Meta, name equals viewport, content equals dot, 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 dot. Then there's my final. So I can take something and concatenate it back to this, okay? I can do stuff like that. All right. Well, check this out. This is just pretty easy how this works, okay? If I hit universal concatenator, I can concatenate. I can add edit. Let's just do concatenate right now, and then we'll walk in and see what it did. Okay, take a look. Okay, the first tag stayed the same, but it concatenated it with the second tag. It was a command I had, and it concatenated that everything together up to the point of the meta name content equals. This is great. It got all the coding into one cell out of our way. That way, when we run the thesaurus on the entire column or row, it will not accidentally create words for some of the coded words, right? Now, along with that, what else do we want concatenated? Do you remember that arrow? The phone number's harder to do, of course, because phone numbers change all the time in the rules. You don't just want to create too many weird rules for that exactly. But if I did find it, and I could, it's got to be in here somewhere. It must be further. Whatever. Control F. Where is that thing? Let me try this. Find next. Okay. There it is. Take a look. That is done for us. That's why I kept missing it. Okay. And everything else. What was that? QUOT? Find all. Like find next, you know. If it's not concatenated yet, that's because I got to build it into my system. I guess I didn't have it in there yet. Okay. So how do I add and edit new ones that I wanted to also grab? Well, here's how. Let me open the universal concatenator, okay, like so. And let me add edit, because I thought I had it in there, but I do not actually. So let me go do it. So now that I edited, I can go find it, copy, and I'll show you how this works. And this is the coolest thing is I'm showing you how this works, okay? Okay, so here we go. If I put it in, I want to put it in column 1. There's a column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. Don't worry about the numbers. You don't have to worry about them. They're just here for your reference. They don't even need to be there. But if I paste, whap, there it is. So because I have the sheet open and I come back and I copy it, I can flip right here and paste. Okay? Don't just try to copy it first and then open it. It'll lose the fact that you're trying to copy anything. It'll disconnect. Then you just have to come back and then highlight it and then copy it and then come back, no big deal, and paste it in. Now I pasted it in saying this is my coding. Don't line it up to other things up here. Just realize column 1 is column 1. Okay, that's the first thing. There's column 2 and column 3. Those are it. So what are these two fields for? These fields say, should you include, I can stretch it out. When it concatenates these, should it also concatenate it to the cell that came before it? Yes or no? The cell that came after it? Yes or no? Okay. And that's where you can have the decision being made that way. And so you can say yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, no, yes. Okay. And the default is no, no. Okay. If you don't put anything in there, it'll be no, no. But you should put something in there. Okay. Just to keep track of your work, right? Well, check this out. When I said concatenate the meta name viewport content equals, I said concatenate it with all the little pieces that got spread all the way out. Okay. And I said do not attach it to what comes after it, but do attach it to what comes before it. Now notice that every time it runs, it creates a new destination sheet. Okay. If I come back to the beginning, by the way, just to see it. When it concatenated it, it stuck it to the tag that came before it. because it used to be here, but that's no longer it. That was the stuff that came after the whole string of it. See, first used to be all this stuff, and then the meta name keywords continued. Okay. Now it's the meta name keywords is here because everything else got concatenated along with the first cell, which used to just be like that, something like that. But now it's all this. Oh, yeah. Heck, our first cell used to be this. And then came all of this. But now it's all concatenated together, which is nice. It just makes it clean and easy and out of our way. That way we can read the words better and deal with them better. Get it? And that way we don't accidentally create variation words for things that should be inside the coding, right? Okay. So anyway, now I added a new command. And let's just say I don't want to concatenate it either forward or backwards because maybe that's just too weird. It depends on whether it came before or after a word. And I just might not know. All right, fine. So, like you can trust them quote, I could attach it to something, but then it may be a problem. It might put something before it and something after it right away. And so I'll just say no in that case. We did create a left quote and a right quote. So we'll go through that later. I could, for instance, change the original coding to regular quotes. That way it gets converted into left quote and right quote formats for us. LDQUO, RDQUO. And that's really what this should be now. I can actually do that here. Delete, shift cells right, or well, left, sorry. And this would be RDQUO, LDQUO. Now, if it's a left quote, it's a quote on the left side of the word. Here's an example. It would be like brown, okay? That means it needs a space before it, but not after it. So it should not concatenate to before it, but it should concatenate to after it. You see that? That's what makes it a left quote. So not before, but yes after. Well, the right quote's the exact opposite. Yes before, no after. Get it? Because it's exactly the other way around. It should concatenate to whatever came before it, but not whatever comes after it. See that? So that's why we can add and edit and stuff, is because you can actually update these lists that you create for your own use for whatever coding issues you stumble across in your own work, whether you're working with the T2H or anything else. By the way, they're wonderfully optional. These things don't have to exist on the page for this to work. You can build a whole library of these for all kinds of different projects you work on, and it'll just make the changes as it needs to. So now I could delete this destination sheet and just do it again from sheet 1. Universal concatenator, concatenate, boom. So now if I go looking for a quote, QUOT, there it is. See how it's concatenated for me and the next one? And the LDQUO is concatenated to the left side of the cell that comes before it. So it left this alone because I told it to. Okay, but it did connect. It's a left quote right before the word the. Okay, and then of course the right one's going to be the exact opposite, right? RDQUO. It comes right after the period, so it's period double quote and then the end of the paragraph. See, that just makes it much cleaner all the way around. Point is, this work did it for us. Okay, this was done for us. It's done. Now, that's cool. That's really, really cool. So what's the next thing? All right, and I double checked. The next thing's the last major thing. That's this. If we follow through, if we highlight the whole thing, hit thesaurus, okay? And I'm going to skip the optional spinner part, okay? I'll show that later. But I'm just going to skip it for now because I'm trying to make the next point. Watch this. I've got all my details in there. It's actually two things at once. Okay, I'm going to show you right now. Ready? I'm going to generate the final files using the header generator, which creates the whole huge final stack of everything we need and does all the right job for our model page and our var sheet. Okay, and it's going to do that work right now. There it is. It's going to overwrite the index file and it's going to generate the CSV file. Now, see how varied this is and very heavy. And of course, I never did clean it up or do anything appropriate with it. This is, no good as it is because I didn't put any manual effort into it yet. Okay, I'm just showing you all the automation so far. Okay, now that I did all that, I could even delete this Excel sheet because I'm through with it. The point is I have my model page and my Var sheet. Now, here's the last two things that have changed with this new version. Vars.csv, if we open it, first, there used to be a blank column here all the time, and we couldn't get over it. Technical hurdle. But now we can. It's fixed. You don't have to open this to get rid of that stray column anymore. It's already gone. You don't need to open it at all, except, for obvious modifications to make it a better sheet than this would be. Second thing, do you remember how this used to always be cut off at some number? Delete. It really depended on whatever the number of items in the first row was, and it went all the way across that way. Well, not anymore. There was some strangeness where it just maxed out at whatever number of items was used in the first column, and then went on like that. And either was that many or less, but it never went any further. Even if you had further stuff, that's fixed now, okay? You would have had to have added it afterward to the Vars, like your city-state list, right? But now it's actually keeping everything, so you get much more variability. Whatever kind of variability you build into it never got cut off earlier in the process, okay? So you can build the variability in earlier or later. It doesn't matter anymore, okay? So anyway, point is, and I don't know why I need to save it this way. Silly me. Time. All right, the point is that they were done right away. They're lined up right away. They work completely. And the only wraparound here issues is because all of the tokens, of course, press the variability outward, right? Well, it can work now. That's my point. That's the index file in the Var sheet. So if I just happen to do this bit, where I'm going to run this on MOWG really, really quick, okay? Let me get to my project index and my Var sheet. Pretend it's going to go to new combine.theme to html.com. Let's just do 20 pages to produce it really fast. We're not going to upload it. We're just going to produce it locally. Next. I'm just going to do this. Watch this. I'm just going to put the ID column in. Pretend that is the keyword column. It's kind of silly, right? But that way I don't have to do any extra work to show you anything right now. I'll deal with that later, the URL breakdown. I'm going to create, my keywords folder. Okay, now I got a keywords folder. Okay, all of our videos have covered this to this point. This isn't new. And then I'm going to hit process, and there she goes. Piece of cake. I can go look at the pages now. They're done, right? And I could save this, test, whatever. And there it is. Okay. Now, word of caution, I did not fill out a lot of fields, so this is probably not going to be saved properly. If I try to open this thing, okay, I could click on it to open it, and it's just going to open the front page. But if I try to load it, it will probably say this file is corrupt in a way because I didn't do the right thing with it. I did too little with it, okay? See? It's an error while loading the profile. Yeah, I didn't fill everything out. I need to fill everything out. I got to put stuff everywhere it's supposed to go if I'm doing it this way. Now, reality check is guess what? With the theme to HTML, we came out with a much better way of doing this. So you don't have to open that MOWG profile. You don't have to open this thing at all. You don't have to. And you don't have to do anything with it, okay, for all of these fields, all right? But you'll want to learn how to open it and do a few things. But what we did here was make it so easy to fill the form out from outside just by filling in a couple of blocks that it takes care of itself for you. It fills itself out properly for you. So I'll show you that in the next recording when we talk about integrating T to H with MOWG and how that's done. Right now, this was the recording about the updates that we did to MOWG Toolbar to make it version 18. Again, 6 major updates. It saves the index file as UTF-8 by default. We created the whole new universal concatenator so that you can create your list of reconcatenations to save yourself all that elbow grease work. We fixed the double quote issue at the end of the meta keywords and the meta description tags. Okay. We included coding in the universal fixes that covers the T to H. Okay. Hard to look at that way. And let me see, also had the Var sheet so that the two cool things about the Var sheet, of course, was that it doesn't have a blank column and it also includes all the variations you created no matter how many you had in the first column. There's no chopping, no truncating of the data anymore. Okay, of the original data. Again, you could always go in later and add, but now you don't have to. You can do it before or after and not lose any work. All right, guys, that's the latest with the MOWG Toolbar version 18. I hope you enjoy it. And so now you know how to install it, how to use it. So I'll be able to create new videos on integrating T to H with MOWG. And that's awesome because we get to erase a lot of the work that went into learning MOWG. We've been able to simplify it, and I'm starting to form this, a 1-2H MOWG. Guess what that is? Well, kind of the equivalent of the you know the 2 MOWG HB that's been around forever on MOWG Crew, right? And we've done recordings about this already. Let me point this out real fast just to make sure you know before I move on. Okay. If you go to, training videos, okay, here we go. 2 MOWG HB, the UAP project. First, how to install it, then how to use it. Okay, and then we had all this backup stuff teaching you everything else about custom runs and everything and why things work and how not to do them, how to do them right. And that's a lot of stuff. And some of these things are going to stay applicable. This stays applicable. This stays applicable. You know, different things stay applicable anyway. Okay, why MOWG is why it had. Eavesdropping series has got a lot of great stuff on it. But what's always been tough for people is learning coding, which is why we started to create theme to HTML in the first place. It became a standalone project that works perfectly on its own without MOWG, but we did it so you can create custom runs with the parameters of the templates that we have, but you can do them for anything. Okay, it doesn't have to be landscaping, right? Just the fastest point in the world. I was showing a company really fast. We were a nursing home in Bangor, Maine, and I just said, take a look. And I made some very quick changes and uploaded that theme for the fun of it. And this was the landscaping theme. I just changed it real quick to make it look like a nursing home theme. You know what they thought? They thought that this was a different template and were asking me if this template was available. And all I could think was, this is the landscaping template. You know, let us make your stay extraordinary came exactly from let's make your yard extraordinary. I just put in new pictures and changed the words. Get it? Change some of the page names, and then I could copy paste new content into the pages. I didn't do the work because we haven't even followed up on it yet. Other than when they saw it, they were amazed and they wanted to see if their guy could do that kind of work. And well, with the back end, which is easy. And so that'll come up. That's probably going to be a paid job anyway, because why not? Same thing with so many other guys you could do work for. And so anyone who says, wow, can you do themes for this and that and the other? That was a landscaping thing. We got a plumber theme. Okay. All right. And we chose this method because it's a very convertible template. You guys probably noticed that I'm not interested in beauty. I'm interested in content. Okay. And I'm interested in conversions coming from this making the point the proper way, first, second, third points you want to make at the right speed. This being the main points you want to lead people to first, whatever you think they would be. Okay. And it's absolutely true. That's what I just did. Absolutely true that this is very convertible. And we did allow you room to do things like put background imagery in here however you want. So you can do cool things with this page and make it look as good as you feel like making it look. You can put the background in and have it repeat, right? We did that on our plumber page. Not this one, an upgraded version of it. I forget why it's not exactly here. It is here. New combine. Let me log in and just show you real fast what I mean, just so you can see, in case you didn't see it before. Make sure I'm on the plumber. Okay. Sign up. Okay. There you go. All right, so now we got the background. Again, you can do whatever you want. If you want to do textures or images and have them center in the middle, center at the top, have them repeat X, repeat Y, repeat X and Y. It's extremely easy to do now. Okay. So they're all the same template. No one really understands that unless they understand that because they know us, but they're all the same template. That was the point we were making. Change the logo, change some information, change some names on the titles, change the imagery, change the print, and change the colors. And then you're really halfway there. The rest of it's just put the content in, really. And there you go. So you can do it for any industry you want. There are guys doing that now. All right. So to learn more, go to theme2html.com, right? Theme to html.com. It's where we created an admin panel for producing regular HTML web pages. This is an old view of the admin panel, and this is a guy looking on his mobile phone because they're mobile ready productions. And we're going to keep developing it as we go. But it's gotten to the point where people are saying, I'm getting off WordPress. I hate all their add-ons not working. This is cool and this works. And the video training's here. Webinars are just down below. There's the video. You can sign up. We're going to have stuff coming out. You can stay in the loop. Here's the webinars. Okay. And there's two big ones here that are cool. Okay. Both of them are cool. The second one's about integrating T to H with MOWG. It's long, 2.5 hours, but that's because people had, especially people who've been a MOWG a while, had cool questions to ask, one after the next. So these are cool. Okay. All right, that's it. Just want to show you the update and show you where we're at and give you a taste of what's to come next. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you get it, make sure you install it, make sure you use it. And yeah, you can use it for any website, and you should find it's easier than ever before to do your work.